It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I have a dream.
Take a second and think about the most revolutionary moments in human history. Every groundbreaking discovery that inspired us to expand our perception of the world. Every technological advancement that reimagined what we thought was possible. Every social movement that transforms the lives of millions of people. Every cultural shift that brought us closer together as human beings. Each of these moments started with one thing, an idea. But not just any idea, an idea that sparked a chain reaction and spread like wildfire. An idea that became so much more than just an idea. These ideas are unique because they accomplished what few ever do. Dr. Richard Dawkins is a world-renowned English ethologist, evolutionary biologist, and writer who explores ideas like these in his book, The Selfish Gene. During his study of patterns of evolutionary biology, he made an unexpected observation.
Only genes make exact copies of themselves through generations, and therefore only genes have a really significant difference between the successful ones and the unsuccessful ones.
He found that pervasive ideas spread using the same model as genetics through natural selection. See, natural selection dictates that superior genes survive and multiply throughout a population while inferior genes are bred out. And the same goes for ideas. Now, while he didn't intend for this to be a scientific fact,
I wasn't intending it to be a contribution to the theory of human culture.
it's still an effective lens to apply to the idea behind a piece of content. For every winning idea, there are thousands of losing ones. Ones that you've never seen and you never will because they never caught on. This selection model has essentially resulted in a war of ideas. It's a constant battle for dominance across a population. Social media has only amplified this competition. The landscape has allowed nearly anyone with an internet connection to enter this war of ideas. And because anybody can enter, the winning ideas must be the cream of the crop. You're probably wondering how an idea survives and spreads with this much competition, or what attributes it needs to be captivating enough to spread around the world. These are great questions to ask, but the better question here is, can you backwards engineer virality in order to create content like this as well? The answer is yes, and that's exactly what you're going to learn in this course. If you put the effort into understanding what makes viral content, your career will be divided into two parts, pre-virality and post-virality. For me, this understanding was a turning point in my life. Before I understood virality, I was spending endless days planning, filming, and editing videos that would receive less than 100 views. Forget making money, I could barely scrape the 50 subscriber mark. But after understanding virality, it was infinitely easier to grow my audience and start a six-figure business without spending time or money on marketing. Learning the art of virality makes creating irresistible, share-worthy content an easy and, most importantly, repeatable process. There are people in the world who have already figured out this process. They've discovered the key ingredients behind virality and have been taking advantage of it to build lucrative careers. Chances are, you probably already know who's figured it out. It's the YouTubers who are making six-figure salaries creating videos about their passions. It's the Instagram influencers who are getting paid tens of thousands of dollars just to post pictures with sponsored products. It's the bloggers who are building million-dollar information product businesses without any prior experience. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You can apply the same principles to nearly any platform. Why? Because the platform is irrelevant. What matters is internalizing the specific concepts responsible for viral content. Here's the first concept I want you to understand. If you know how to go viral, you eventually will go viral. It's all simple probability and statistics. Let's take the example of a lottery. Let's assume that the jackpot for this lottery is $100. The odds of you winning the lottery is 1%, and each ticket costs $5. Now, if you keep playing the lottery with these odds and with these numbers, you're guaranteed to lose. The lottery will screw you over. Even if you bought 100 tickets, statistically speaking, you're gonna lose money. So it's not worth even trying. Now, imagine if your odds of winning were 10% per ticket. That means you have a 1 in 10 chance of winning, and statistically speaking, you only have to spend $50 to win 100. So if this was the case, you'd stop watching this video and go buy a lottery ticket right now. You'd buy 1 million of them. Now imagine if the tickets were free. That means you have an unlimited amount of tries to win the lottery. On top of that, what if I told you that I could teach you how to play the lottery better, so your chances of winning are now 15% instead of 0.1%? So that means on top of the unlimited tries, you now have an even higher chance of winning. That's exactly how you should look at learning virality. Each time you put a piece of content out onto the internet, that's your free ticket. And this course that you're watching right now will teach you how to increase your odds of winning, aka going viral. It's a simple concept to grasp, but we still haven't defined what it means to go viral. So what exactly is virality? Let's first examine virality from a linguistic perspective. In the past, viral referred to infectious diseases or viruses. But with the progression of technology, and specifically social media, it's taken on a completely different meaning. I'm sure you've seen the word viral being thrown around all over the internet. News sites like BuzzFeed will constantly post articles about the new viral dance craze, or the most viral images of 2018, or the most viral tweets you've never heard of. But what exactly do they mean by that? Virality is the tendency of an image, video, or piece of information to be circulated widely and rapidly from one internet user to another. In other words, viral content is viewed and shared by a ton of people in a short amount of time. You can break this down into a formula. Attention plus shareability equals viral content. It's content that for one reason or another ends up circulating around the world because it's so consumable. Stuff like this photo of Iowa Children's Hospital with tens of thousands of upvotes. That's viral content. The heartwarming Facebook video about two siblings that has millions of views, that's viral content. This beginner's guide to drawing that has over 100,000 claps on Medium, you guessed it, viral content. Notice what's common about these three examples. All were shared amongst a ton of people, and all received enormous amounts of attention. That's the 1-2 punch all viral content needs to achieve. We'll talk about sharing later in the course, but first, let's talk about attention. What's the goal of going viral? To capture massive amounts of attention. Let me make one thing clear. Attention is the single most important factor to starting a successful business right now. Business influencers like Gary Vaynerchuk cite it as the single most important asset, worth more than gold, real estate, or even stocks.
There's only one currency. It's not called Bitcoin, it's not Ethereum, there's only one currency. My friends, that currency is attention.
It's why companies are willing to pay $5 million for a 30-second TV commercial during the Super Bowl. That's right, $5 million. Just for an ad during a football game.
Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me.
To most people, that's ludicrous. But for these companies, it's absolutely worth it. Because 30 seconds of a Super Bowl ad is 30 seconds of America's attention. The attention of 100 million people. That means these companies have deemed it worth $5 million for roughly 1/3 of Americans to hear their brand name in hopes that they will become new customers. Those $5 million are seen as an investment. Now, yes, these are multinational corporations freely spending millions of dollars, but the same principle scales down to the average person. Attention will be how you make your money, regardless of whether it's on TV or on the internet. Attention is the most valuable asset, no matter the platform. The more attention you have, the more brands will pay you to sponsor their content, the more people you can sell merchandise to, the more customers you can create products for. That's why attention equals money. If you can capture a significant amount of attention, money will follow. And that doesn't require a Super Bowl-sized audience. The money you make is proportional to your audience size, but you can make a sustainable income with a much smaller audience than you might think. Take our students, Riff Shop. They make YouTube videos combining death metal and anime, an extremely niche audience to cater to. Yet they made $60,000 in 1 year from just 60,000 subscribers. Taking advantage of this phenomenon requires no money, no degree, and no connections. All you need is the internet and ideas to share. People can build audiences around any subject: cars, business, dating, travel, pets, you name it. And all of them have capitalized on this phenomenon to capture massive amounts of attention. Luxury watch reviewer Anish Bhatt grew his Instagram account to over 1.7 million followers. He's been featured in publications like Forbes, GQ, The Washington Post, The New York Times. Here's another example that uses imagery alone. History in Pics is a Twitter account that posts photos of historic events and then writes the context in the caption. Sounds pretty simple, right? Yet they make millions per month doing that. Not per year, per month, from an audience of 4 million followers. And then there's us, Simple Pickup. Our men's dating advice business with over 330,000 Facebook likes and 2.7 million YouTube subscribers. A combination of hilarious social experiments and heartfelt self-improvement advice enabled us to build a business generating over $2 million annually. The amazing part? We accomplished all that without any paid advertising. That's hundreds of millions of views worth of attention generated for free. But it's not enough to just understand that you need to garner attention. The real question is how to actually get people's attention in the first place. Let's dive into attention as a concept. Attention at its most basic level is simply taking an interest in something. Whether it be an expensive car driving down the road, your neighbor's dog, or a viral video on social media. Before you can understand what we pay attention to, you need to understand how our attention works. See, by choosing to focus on something, we're inherently not focusing on everything else. That means our attention is limited. We simply can't focus on every single thing we encounter throughout the day. As a result, we're selective about what we pay attention to. We have to distinguish what matters from what is merely noise. Here's how our brains work. They're hardwired to seek novelty. Researchers have shown that the substantia nigra ventral tegmental area of the brain, I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but that area of the brain regulates dopamine levels, and it only reacts when presented with novelty. Think about how good you feel when you do any of those things. You're not deciding to feel good, it's a subconscious reaction to stimuli. Novelty is another one of those dopamine-releasing triggers. The more novelty you see and experience, the more dopamine you release. And the more dopamine you release, the better you feel. So, from an evolutionary standpoint, this makes complete sense. We used to forage for food back when we lived in nomadic tribes, whether that's fishing, hunting, gathering plants. We've evolved to associate depleting valuable food resources with survival. Today, we've essentially replaced foraging for food with foraging for information. We jump from different websites or resources and gradually deplete the information we receive from them. Depletion of an information resource continues until we hit the point of diminishing return. Once that happens, we become bored. And that's the last thing our brains want to be. So what do? We seek out novelty and switch to something new. My point here is this. There is an actual physiological mechanism inside all of us that explains why we seek new things. Our constant aversion to boredom is the reason it's so crucial not to create boring content. You don't need me to tell you that boring things rarely grab our attention. Most people don't care about mundane tasks like brushing your teeth, driving in rush hour traffic, or eating the same breakfast day after day. Let's be honest, how memorable was brushing your teeth this morning? Chances are not at all. I bet you didn't even think twice about it. Go to the bathroom, turn on the faucet, grab your brush, squeeze out the toothpaste, brush for 2 minutes, spit it out, rinse and repeat every single day. There's nothing special about it. The best entrepreneurs and marketers are fully aware that mundane things don't capture people's attention. They know how our brains process information. They know people hate watching boring advertisements. Boring correlates with low serotonin levels, another one of our happiness chemicals. Low serotonin levels correlate with depression, something no one wants to experience. When we lack that rush of serotonin, we instinctively leave. That's why the best ads today are designed to be engaging, entertaining, and captivating. They're not just watchable, they're enjoyable. They don't even feel like ads. They're so good that people actually share them with their friends for entertainment. Here's a prime example of what I mean. A mattress ad received hundreds of millions of views and got comments like these. This viral ad is for a company called Purple and was created by the Harmon brothers. The Harmon brothers are an ad agency world-renowned for creating viral ads that feel like content. They've essentially mastered the art of virality and used it to find the perfect balance between entertaining and selling. Because they have this advantage that most ad agencies don't have, they are able to apply virality to marketing. Even if you aren't on a marketing team, even if you have no money to invest whatsoever, you can apply the same principles they have and go viral as frequently and as effectively as they do. All because of the internet. Back in the caveman days, human communication was revolutionized through the origin of speech. All ideas were spread exclusively through oral cultures, primarily in the forms of stories, songs, and poetry. This was a huge step for humanity, but still very limited. If you had ideas you wanted to share, your reach was really localized. Imagine how long it would take for a story to get to the other side of the country, if that was even possible. The next communication revolution came around 1440 with the invention of the printing press. The printing press enabled the reproduction of written word at scale. It made it possible to spread news, opinions, and stories across multiple towns, even across other countries. But despite this advancement, spreading ideas across long distances was still incredibly sluggish. One would have to travel for months to reach someone on the other side of the planet. It just wasn't an efficient way to spread information, at least not by our standards. In the early 1900s, the popularization of the telephone provided a viable solution. Now, you could call anybody, anywhere, and tell them something almost instantaneously. The limitation here isn't speed anymore, but now the limitation is scale. Sure, you can call one person, and sure, that person can call another person and spread your idea via a chain of calls, but that's no way to reach the masses efficiently. Then there was the invention of TV and radio, which allowed for a mass broadcast of information. However, the problem here is that not everybody could go on TV or go on the radio and then spread their message. There was a very select number of people who could actually do that, mostly big corporations. Until the 1990s came, with the birth of the internet. For the first time in history, millions of people around the world were quickly and easily connected. On top of that, anyone could connect to the internet and spread their message. Year after year, internet technology vastly improved. Our communication bandwidth grew, and as a result, our world shrunk. 2005 gave us YouTube, the platform that pioneered virality. For the first time, anyone, anywhere could upload anything they wanted the world to see. New social media platforms emerged year after year, with each one making it even more possible to go viral. And that brings us to today, a world where anyone can start a blog, create an Instagram account, or build a YouTube channel that captures enough attention to convert a 6 or even 7-figure business. Anyone can upload their own original content and have it viewed by potentially millions of people from the United States all the way to China. Views become shares. Shares become even more views becomes followers, and followers become customers. Without extraordinary technological innovation, none of that would be possible. But that innovation came at a cost. Now that anyone can capture attention, there's a ton of competition out there vying for it. It's not just you trying to get eyes on your page. Millions of others are fighting for the attention of the same people you're targeting. So how do you beat the competition? How do you create content that makes someone go, this is the best content I've ever seen? How do you capture someone's limited attention? You might think you should pay for views. I mean, why not? If attention is what matters, why not just take this shortcut to get your stuff out there faster? Here's why. Most people think their content isn't going viral just because they aren't marketing it the right way. They think that once more people see it, it'll pick up traction. They'll become the most popular superstar on the internet. So they'll send it to blogs, they'll post it on Reddit, they'll even try paid advertisement just to get that initial 1,000 views. But most of the time, it doesn't work. They're under the impression that their content hasn't caught on just because enough people haven't seen it. But this just isn't the case. The reality here isn't that more people need to watch their stuff, it's that their content isn't viral worthy to begin with. Not every piece of content is worthy of going viral. If that were true, all the content on Reddit, regardless of quality, would be shared by the masses. If you browse Reddit's new category right now, you'd find the vast number of posts have little to no engagement. These are the posts that lost the war of ideas. They don't have the same viral worthiness the best content does. That's why I can't stress enough how important it is to focus on creating great content first. As tempting as it is to pour your soul into finding promotion hacks, focusing on content quality will determine the majority of your success. Luckily, once you do have great content, growth is actually the easiest part. I've literally posted great videos made by our Viral Academy students on Reddit and watched it get tens of thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of views in just a few hours. Take this video about Avril Lavigne's death by student Michael J.
Is dead. D-E-A-D-E-E-D. She's dead, if you know what I mean.
Another student brought up how unique and engaging this video was, so I decided to post it on Reddit. All it took was a few friends to upvote the post, and guess what happened? It received 15,000 views in 5 hours. Today, this video now has over 2.4 million views, all from 10 minutes of work. And that's just one example of how easy promotion is. I have tons more. Michael, in this situation, did all the hard work by creating the fantastic content in the first place. I just posted it in the right place to give it a boost. And like Michael, your success will come from focusing on creating great content. And the key to great content is your ability to create something that stands out and breaks patterns. Do that, and growth is easy. If you can break through the noise and resonate with your viewer, then you can capture their attention. And then they share it with their friends, and then their friends share it with their friends, and the network goes on and on. So, how do you create unique content that will break patterns? Simple. You make contagious content. Creating contagious content is the best way to grab the attention of potentially millions of people. And therein lies the power of virality. Its principles take advantage of deeply ingrained human psychology so well that it can be applied to any niche using any medium on any platform. We'll cover the optimal strategies to break patterns later in Module 4, but in the meantime, there's something I want to point out first. I get that all this talk about going viral might be exciting, but I have to warn you, there are common pitfalls to look out for when you're studying virality. Your first instinct might be to skip right to learning how to create viral content, but before I teach you what to do, I want to show you the pitfalls of where 99% of people go wrong. In the next video, I'm going to make sure that you're familiar with them so you don't end up wasting a ton of time creating content that has about as much virality as a can of tuna. Here's something most people studying viral content don't know. There's a distinction between what is popular and what is viral. Not all popular content is actually viral. There are things that seem like viral content to the naked eye, but upon closer inspection, they're just popular. Because this is such a key distinction, I want to show you the 3 kinds of popular content that are commonly misconstrued as being viral. Number 1, contagious content is not the same as celebrity content. If you're watching this video right now, I'm 99.9999% sure you are not a celebrity yet, which means you aren't famous enough for people to care about every single thing you do. That just comes with the territory of being a celebrity. You'll get attention just because people already know who you are. Take Kanye West, for example, world-renowned musical genius and controversial A-list celebrity. If Kanye woke up tomorrow and posted a naked picture of himself with a leaf over his crotch on Twitter, the internet would go wild. Love him or hate him, everyone knows who he is. Because he's one of the most famous musicians right now, almost anything he does goes viral. People care about celebrities for the sheer fact that they're celebrities. Rarely does a celebrity need to engineer content for it to be widely popular. Anything they post is popular simply because they are who they are. I point this out because I don't want you to look at celebrity content as a guide for what works and what doesn't. Instead, you're going to take a ground-up approach using contagious content. You don't need people who already know who you are. Your content will be so good, so primed for virality, that strangers will come flocking anyways. Number 2, contagious content is not the same as evergreen content. This is a WikiHow article on how to tie a tie. To the naked eye, 4 million plus views seems like a huge success, right? To get that much attention on a single article is the pinnacle of virality, isn't it? Not exactly. This article might have a ton of views, but it isn't viral content. Remember, viral content spreads like wildfire, both widely and quickly. The 4 million views on this article were racked up over the course of a few years, not in the span of a few weeks. It doesn't have millions of views because it's viral content, but because it's evergreen content. Evergreen content is content that is always relevant, much like the way evergreen trees retain their leaves all year round. Evergreen content will always get a steady stream of views because people are always searching for it. People, specifically young guys, have sucked at tying ties ever since ties were first invented. So naturally, they've always looked at how-to guides to solve that problem and will continue to do so forever. That's what makes this article evergreen. Creating evergreen content just isn't a viable method to reach virality because it's far too slow. That's why we want to focus on viral content. Optimizing virality will ensure your content blows up almost instantly after you post. No need to wait months to see impressive numbers like this. You can get hundreds of thousands, even millions of views in a matter of days. And the best part is that you can post viral content week after week so that your view counts, likes, and shares accumulate exponentially faster. You'll be so focused on how well your content is doing, you'll never fall into this next trap. Number 3, contagious content is not the same as paid content. This is a subtle yet crucial distinction the vast majority of people never even recognize. For example, here's a video on Instagram that has over 700,000 views. Most would see that and think, wow, this video is going viral. This product must be so great that I better watch and see what's going on. On the surface, that's a completely reasonable assumption to make. But the untold truth, the vast majority of the views on that video were paid for. Here's how you can tell. If you look at the top, you'll see a caption that says sponsored by a company. Other than that, the ad looks like regular content. They want you to feel like it's regular content in your feed so that you don't skip over it. So yes, a company investing in paid advertising to sell a product is the reason why you're seeing this video. Not because the content is great, not because most people enjoyed it enough for it to be on your feed, but because a company paid millions to get the attention of all these people. They might have been running the same ad for months, maybe years, to get that many viewers. That's the dictionary definition of paid advertising. Virality focuses on creating great content that gets shared organically without ever paying for advertising. Viral content gets shared from person to person just because it's that great. People want to share it, and you can get all the benefits of capturing attention without paying innumerable sums of money for it. Now, you may be wondering, well, if some businesses are able to leverage paid advertisements, why can't I do the same thing too? First off, let me be clear that paid advertising is not the same as merely buying views or followers. Paid advertising requires you to pay an ad platform like Google or Facebook for the attention of users. It's actually a very effective strategy if your business is at the right stage. The difference between you and those businesses is that you likely don't have bags of cash lying around to pay for all that attention. You'd need a significant amount of upfront cash to even consider paid ads, so it's not worth investing in this early on. Focusing on viral organic content lets you avoid that problem altogether. You can effectively craft your content to maximize your reach and have little to no budget. JumpCut didn't begin using paid advertising until 2017, 3 years after we started. We only did it once we had money in the bank and a successful sales funnel to drive that traffic to. Everything up until then was built on the back of organically viral content. Once you have a business with a proven marketing funnel, products to offer, and cash to invest, paid advertising can be a great way to scale what's already working. But until that point, paid advertising shouldn't even be an option, especially if you don't understand the strategies behind it. For now, learning how to create organic content should be your #1 priority. To recap, you know virality is the tendency for content to be shared widely and rapidly on the internet. You know that capturing attention is the goal of creating viral content because it's extremely lucrative for growing businesses in the modern world. You know contagious content isn't celebrity content, isn't evergreen content, and isn't paid content. But that begs the question, how do you create content that gets shared organically? How do you craft content that's suited for virality? All of that will be explained in the next module. I'll see you there.